30 years. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, please go ahead if you wish to.
Yeah, no, that's I come back.
Yes, if you want to perhaps discuss later, maybe we will discuss all this later. Okay, all right. So yeah, so we will go with the next person in the list, and that's John. Okay, I don't see him. All right, so maybe the next person in the list is Eliza.
Hello, my name is Alyssa Drake and I'm a lecturer at the University of Hertfordshire in the UK in astrophysics and data science.
Okay, then we have Emma Curtis Lake.
Hi, I'm also at the University of Hertfordshire, a lecturer in astrophysics. I've got a 1-year-old son, just coming along at the peak of everything that could happen in my career, which is fun.
Yes. Okay, great. Then we have Emma van der Vetteren.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm an instrument scientist in the Netherlands. I work at Astron with LOFAR, and I have a little boy, almost 2.
Okay, great. Okay, the next person is Giovanna Pugliese. I'm sorry, yes.
Yes, don't worry. Yes, hi. I'm Giovanna. I am Italian, but I am based in the Netherlands. I am a TUFA, and I am an affiliated astronomer researcher there. And I am also manager of a program from the Astronomical Society here to support the career development for all PhD students and postdocs here. I am married with an astronomer, so I am a typical example of the two-body problem. And I am I think one of the few astronomers with 3 kids. So, but the boys, they're twins, so they are now 17.
Yes.
The girl, Maria, is 15. So, you know, all the phases, I am here just to tell you whatever you want to know.
Great. Thank you very much for being here. I'm sure we'll learn a lot from you. Perfect. Okay, so then we have John. I wonder if he can hear us. Or Libasher. So I think that's John, but I'm not sure.
Hi there, I'm in the street and it's sort of hard to speak, but I'm an ally of the group and very delighted.
Okay, thank you. Then we have Maura.
Yes, hi. So I'm an astronomer as well. I work in Italy. I'm a mother of 2. The oldest is 6 years old today, and the youngest is 3. So yes, same as most of you guys.
Okay, thank you. Then we have Nancy. You're not audible, Nancy. Maybe you have to unmute yourself. Yes, please try again.
Hear me?
Yes.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
But you don't see me, right? Because it is not my computer, so I am having some, sorry, I apologize for. Okay, my name, good morning all, or good afternoon, or whatever. And okay, my name is Nancy Elias. I am Spanish, and I work in Italy. I am a researcher there, and I have a son of 2 years old. And even if my husband is not an astronomer, we have in a difficult situation right now because they are both in Spain and I am in Italy. So it's all spending time in both places is going hard. Okay.
Yes. Thank you for joining. Then we have Paula.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Paula Pinilla. I'm originally from Colombia, but I did my PhD in Germany. Then I live in the Netherlands and then in the US. I came back to Germany for a while and now I'm living in the UK. I'm an associate professor at UCL. I work on planet formation. I have 2 kids. They are 6.5 and 3.5 now. They were born in different stages of my career. One in the US when I was a postdoc, a fellow there, and then one when I was a group leader in Germany. And I have been very passionate about mothers in astronomy. Actually, we had a project in 2022-21 of collecting stories of mothers in astronomy, and we collected, I think, 75 stories. This is a book that is available online if anyone is interested. I have also given talks about why we created this project in the first place. And yes, we had stories from mothers who have 1 to 5 kids, I think. So it's very, very inspiring, and I welcome you to have a look.
Okay.
If you Google Mothers in Astronomy, Paola Pinilla, you will find the book.
Yes, we'll do that, and we are going to provide it as one of the resource material after this session. Great, thank you. Okay, then we have Saiko. So would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Oh, thank you. Emma, you are doing instrumentation. I have been building telescopes. It has been fantastic. Okay, I'm now back in Japan, looking after some astronomers. But my professional career was mostly in Hawaii and California. So my sons grew up in those settings, and it was great fun. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. And then we have Veronica here. Yes, Veronica, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, I'm late. It's that kind of day. I'm Veronica Allen. I'm a postdoc in Groningen in the Netherlands, and I'm science-wise. I do astrochemistry, origin of life, observations with ALMA. I'm a little obsessed with ALMA. And I have 2 kids. One is 12 and one is 8, and they were born in weird times in my career, like the summer between my bachelor's and master's, and the 3rd year of my PhD. So I have some fun, not fun experiences to share if people are interested. And I also run with, well, sometimes with someone in the US, the online kind of support group slash fun times. And Paula has spoken at our group as well. We just call it the Astronomoms. We're all early career astronomers, moms, and we're currently working on a paper with a sociologist to talk about our survey we did of various people. I don't know if any of you did it because it's anonymous, but how people's caregiving sort of experiences work with their work and Corona time, and hopefully we'll be done with that soon. And hopefully it can lead to some policy changes because we have a lot of opinions on that as well.
That's really important. Yes, great. Thank you very much, Veronica. I think you're doing a good job as well, at least with the Astromoms. So that's great. So I'll just introduce myself quickly. So I'm Mamta Pomier, and I am the chair of Women in Astronomy Working Group. And I have 2 children as well. So I have a son who is 16, who is going to be 16 very soon in next 3 days. And I have a daughter who is 13 years old. And it has been very rewarding for me as an experience as a mother. So I'm not against women, embracing motherhood. I think you should. It's very positive experience, and it keeps you very positive, in a positive mode, and when you're facing all these challenges that you come across in this STEM field. So that's my take over it. I would like to now share our presentation for today and what we are going to discuss today, actually. So I hope you can see my screen. So that's where we are. So welcome everybody. This is our last session for this year, and then we continue to have all sorts of events every month, actually. So we will be having one in January, but that's not a mentoring session. So this is a mentoring session, especially on mothers in astronomy. And the reason why we are having this session is because we got a lot of interest from mothers to organize it during the European Astronomical Society meeting and even during the IAU General Assembly. As a result, we thought we should have this session. So why it's important to focus on this topic, basically mothers in astronomy. It's because if you look into this IAU membership data, what you see is, so I can put it in full screen mode. Yeah. What you can see is we have more than 12,000 members from all over the world. And among these 12,000 members, you have 78.7% male and 21.2% female. So that's the ratio of male versus female in astronomy all over the world. We also collected country-wise and region-wise data. And what we came up, what the statistics shows us is mostly that we always have this 21% cutoff for female in several countries all over the world, or less than 21%. So that's the number where we are in most of the countries. And that means that in your institution, if you are there, you will see among the faculty members 8 male and 2 female. And that's how the gender balance is at this stage. If you look further into this membership data of the IAU, what you see is we have this Women in Astronomy working group, and 98.4% members of this working group, of this whole IAU members, are actually not a part of Women in Astronomy working group. You have a very small percentage, just 1.6% of members who are a part of Women in Astronomy working group. So that's also very interesting, because that also shows that how people are really connected with this situation, how much are they really aware of the situation of women in astronomy and also mothers in astronomy, and why one of the questions that comes to our mind is why do we have just 1.6% of members in Women in Astronomy working group, and why not all the women are into it? And why not everyone is into it? Why is it just a problem for 1.6%? So that's something which we have to understand, but that's there, that's the data. And if you look into the male and the female members of IAU, only 0.2% of male members are part of Women in Astronomy working group. And John is a part of it, for example. He is attending this session today with us. And we have 6.5% female who are a part of this Women in Astronomy working group. So again, very small percentage of female are part of it. So that's the data. And in this Women in Astronomy working group, we have almost 88.6% female and 11.4% male. All right, so going ahead, why this imbalance? If you look at the age group and the positions that these members are holding, what we can see is at the PhD level, you have 55% male and 45% female. That's the ratio of students who are enrolled for PhDs in astronomy. And once we get into the postdoc level, this is where you start to have 75% male and 25% female. Suddenly you can start to see that the female students or postdocs are just 25%, whereas 75% are male. So there is a decrease. And the question is, why do we have this decrease? Once you go from postdoc level, this postdoc level can last from 2, 3, up to 25 years after PhD. So that's also very surprising. And there are many female members who are stuck into this long-term postdoc situation, and they perhaps may never have a permanent position. So, but that's how it happens. And it's important to know that it happens. So that's also the reason why we are having this kind of mentoring session, to keep you aware of what's the practice and what's the current situation. If you go from postdoc up to permanent researcher level, what you would see is there are 79% male and 21% female. So again, this is also visible in the IAU WiA statistics, membership statistics. We have 21% female at permanent positions and 79% male. And then when you go at very higher positions, that is directors and professors who are basically involved in policy making and hiring committees, there are only 2% female and there are 98% male. So this is the gender disparity in astronomy that you see that is available from the data. What is also interesting is to see that once you go from PhD up to the professor level, the percentage of women systematically goes down from 45% to 25, 25 to 21, and finally it lands up to 2% at the very high position, at the decision-making positions, basically. So there is this gender balance which is created. There is a gender disparity which is created. There is an imbalance in the policy making which is created at every level for the careers of women in astronomy. That's what we see from the data. So because of this decrease in percentage of women in astronomy, which is also called as the leaky pipeline effect, so I think it's more visible here, what we can see is among those 25% PhD students who have enrolled, at every career stage, the number of women start to decrease, going from 45% up to 2%. So there is a clear decrease. And of course, there is this leaky pipeline, which is quite visible. And female researchers are not being retained at every career level. In fact, we are losing them out. That's the reason why there is this leaky pipeline effect. And there is a loss of highly skilled females in academics. It is very much visible from this plot. So what's the reason for this leaky pipeline effect? We wanted to know that. So we went ahead, we conducted a survey with almost 1,000 members from all over the world who participated. And here we have just the plots coming from permanent researchers, male and female. And what we can see, so male response are marked in blue, female in green. And what we can see is the most important factors that affect the career of women in astronomy is maternity and family responsibilities. That's the prime factor. Besides that, of course, there are bias against women and mostly mothers by both men and women. There are social stereotypes. Oh, you're a mother, you should be taking care of the kid. Oh, you have a small baby, it's your responsibility. Oh, you have to go and fetch your kids from the school, etc., etc. You have to take part of the take most of the parental leave rather than the husband or the father. And that's how, their productivity or their viability at the workplace gradually goes down, and it affects their career in the end. Besides that, you have discrimination and bullying, finally, which starts to come up. It's not only being done by permanent members, even non-permanent members, and even students. Your PhD students can also start to be into the bullying practices. It can even happen to that level. There's a lack of support. There are few job opportunities. There's, of course, lack of women role models. So this is also very important for us to have all these role models who are available and to whom we can count on, and we can invite them to give talks in our Women in Astronomy session. That's why we are having this meeting. There's glass ceiling effect. There is unethical or an unfair way of evaluation of your work. So because you are having this parental responsibilities, as a result, your productivity goes down, and when the productivity goes down, then of course there is unfair evaluation of work which is happening, because people are not taking into consideration whether your contracts are full-time or part-time, but they will evaluate your productivity like they will evaluate the productivity of a person who is working full-time. So that's again unfair. That's not the way it has to be done. If you're paid half-time, your productivity is supposed to be half-time, and it should be multiplied. It should be doubled while evaluation, but that is not asked anywhere. There's also lots of sexual and mental harassment, suppression of work. And of course, how much support do you get from your family to continue with your career and your work? There is, of course, lack of motivation because of all this problems that you face. And of course, the lack of confidence. I hear a lot. People talk about women or female candidates have less self-confidence. I don't think that's the case, but that's how people want to put it on you. I feel it's more that they want to put this pressure on you that women lack confidence, but I don't think so. There's imposter syndrome, which is very common because then people start to make you feel that, oh, okay, you should be taking care of your kid rather than being here in the office. And that's where I think it gets more complicated. And then there is lack of visibility and suppression and racism, and one needs to over socialize to get jobs. And women mothers especially, they don't have time for socialization and for building networks. As a result, also they have less support at their workplace, and all sorts of other constraints are there. They also work at low salaries. And there are some people who also said that they don't know what are the problems that women face at work. So you have all sorts of response. But these are the main factors which are quite visible and which affect the career of women in astronomy and also mothers in astronomy. So taking all this together, we came up with this kind of plot. And this is a very interesting plot. So everyone should remember it, especially younger members. It shows the career track of women PhDs in astronomy and how leaky pipeline affects your career. So if you start from the PhD admission to receiving your PhD degrees up to tenure track positions, then permanent position, then senior positions, and at director level. So what you can see is that if it's a married father, so in fact, at the beginning, during PhD admission phase, everyone's career starts in the same phase, whether a male or a female candidate. But once you finish your PhD phase, that's when you enter into this age where you start to think about having family, and that's mostly your postdoc phase. And during the postdoc phase, if you start to have children, that's when you start to have this flatness in your curve, which you don't see in the curve or in the career path of married fathers, or you won't see that in the career path of single women. But in the case of mothers, this kind of flatness in the curve arises. That's because of the family responsibility, the maternity period, and the caretaking activities they have to do because of the children responsibility that they get into. If you have the second child after the first one, which is usually what people do to have two children, better company, etc., for each other, then they again enter into this kind of career flatness curve. And you can see the productivity is, while it is going smoothly for the married fathers, it keeps going down for mothers, especially as compared to even single women. Even if single women may have a bit less choice in their careers compared to fathers, married women, they have to face much more challenges and much more rejections with their applications and possibilities to get even postdoc positions. So forget about permanent position, but that's how it is. And more this divide or this kind of space that you see in the curve, more difficult it is for them to continue with their career. So that's the leaky pipeline effect that we are talking about. And what you can see is when you come to this kind of permanent position, already their productivity is far low as compared to, or more half as compared to that of fathers or single women. So 98% male are having this kind of career path. 5%, only 5% female have this kind of career path similar to married fathers. That's just because they are single, because they don't have child care responsibilities or other family care responsibilities. But mothers, they are in this stage, and they are 95% of the candidates who are in this stage. So that's the reason why you don't see so many women in permanent positions, or that's why we have this kind of leaky pipeline effect, which also gives rise later to the glass ceiling effect. But that's it. So their careers need to be retained, and that's not really happening in an active way. And that depends upon the hands of policymakers and hiring committee members. And who are the policymakers and hiring committee members? As we said, and as we saw earlier, there are 80% male and 20% female. So out of 10 members, only 2 are female, and those are either very young members or one who are not at the very high position. So again, in this kind of meeting, they will have less say, or they will get less votes compared to the votes that will be given to the male members in the hiring committee. So this is where also there is a problem. And so there is an influence on what they say. Right. So this is the background that I wanted to provide you from all the survey work that we have been doing until now. And I would like to take a pause here and to see if you have any questions or comments at this stage.
Well, great job, ma'am. Really great job. I will be very happy if you can share these slides. I would like to share them also to show them to my colleagues, female colleagues here in Korea.
Thank you.
Really, the picture you show actually is what the impression I have got during my career. So I don't know the other senior colleagues who maybe they have the same impression, but this what I noticed during my more than 30 years career. So it's now with the numbers, yeah, actually I'm disappointed in the numbers actually, the way they are. But yeah, we can discuss it further. But thank you for the great job. It's really important. I was a week ago to a meeting where the Women in Science in Korea, the lady who is the president of this organization, gave a talk, and she also showed similar studies, and the picture was the same. But she also showed actually how it's divided by countries. And unfortunately, Japan and Korea were on the last place of about women in astronomy and in science in general.
Mm-hmm.
So, but both countries are making a great effort to change this, I have to say. And Japan is doing even more than Korea at the moment. There are special positions for female.
No.
They cannot be taken in Japan at the moment. There are no position for female scientists. They cannot be taken by male scientists. That's it.
But that's one way of doing. That's what Australians have done.
Yes,
And
it has
that
to be enforced if it doesn't work other way. So I fully agree with this. And in Korea, it's not the case yet, but I think that will come as well. I believe. Yeah. So they are trying forcibly, kind of, to change. And this is, I met Japanese young colleagues here in Korea during the COSPAR meeting, and they were all asking me the question, can I have another second child? Can I have even one? And I said yes, and there are plenty of opportunities now in Japan, and you just go and take them all. And so in Japan, I heard about one in university. I have here a Japanese friend that yes, they are really straightening this role of women in science. I'm not talking even astronomy. Women in science have to be supported, especially.
Yes, they have to be, yes, because
it's amazing. So
the
well done.
imbalance is causing all sorts of harassment problem, and it's not really a very peaceful environment to work with, and to go on. It's mentally very difficult. It is physically difficult, and you don't want to enter into an environment where things are not really fair or safe enough. That's the point. So to maintain the trust, you need to have the balance, and to have the balance, you need to have to retain the career of women astronomers, right? So. Any other questions? Thank you, Maria, for your comments and support. But do we have other questions at this stage? or any suggestion?
I was going to ask about there was the table about causes for the imbalance, right? And I wonder if is it short-term contracts or something like this was one of the factors, but the sort of bundled in and subtly not written is short-term contracts come with moving and country moving, institute moving, changing your house, and this is especially disruptive if you're not single, essentially. Where was it? It was like halfway down, I think. Um, short fixed term contract. Yeah, well, that's like the fifth thing. But I think that people, unless they actively know, like they don't think about this as an extreme issue that's built into the career path that is required. You have to move. If you stay at the same institute, you look like you're a bad scientist or some kind of nonsense. And that is not only like in a familial way, it's disruptive, but it's psychologically disruptive. This restarting every 3 years, this trying to find friends and support groups when you're not around your family, when you're not around the people you grew up with, trying to find support when you have a family, when you don't know the country, when you don't know the school system. It shouldn't be built into the career path, and it is. And I
Yes.
think this is my biggest problem.
Yeah, and you need to reprove yourself in every second year, every third year. You have to reprove yourself in this new circumstances with new people around you, and everyone, even younger than you, wants to judge you because you're a newcomer. So that's
And I
that's
think is it like ranking stressful events in your life, like moving house is like the third most stressful thing that you can do. And
Yes.
we're just expected to do it several times. And I think that is terrible.
Yes. Right. So that's the reason why I put it. Sorry, anybody else wants to add?
Yes, I would like to add something about this, that it depends also on the country, because, for example, here in the Netherlands, you cannot work at the same institute for more than a certain amount of years, because this rule is done to protect workers, but actually it is not very good for working mothers, because otherwise they have to hire permanently.
Yes.
And I am in this position now that no, we cannot just grant it a new contract, because after a few years you have to go, because otherwise we have to hire you permanently. And I mean, it is all the society. We are a small group if we think of workers in a big society, and probably we should remake ourselves. We have to rethink how to do it, because I can tell you that now, this year in API, that is the Astronomical Institute in Amsterdam, there are more or less 50-50 between women and men, but then you have to look at the age and at the status, because the elderly ones, the ones who are full professor, they are still mostly male, because we are starting now to put younger generation in the system, but nevertheless, we are not giving them the support that they need to get grants and then to be productive, because now we put them there and it is okay, it is done. We solved the problem. We are 50-50. Now you are on your own. But it is not that how it works, because we know that the productivity to publish to BPI, you need to having these grants and these other grants. You have to bring money to make careers. This requires a lot of support that honestly, at the moment, I don't see it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's not there. It's just when you bring the money to the institute is happy to host you. Because the institute also gets money out of your project, right? So it's a win-win situation for everybody. So that's the only deal. That's the only condition. You bring funds, you are welcome. You don't bring funds, then we are going to support to the members whom we think are going to help us to advance our projects, because our projects comes with deadline and we need to be productive and we need to make it successful. So that's their constraint. So that's how it goes. Yes. So you're totally correct. So indeed, we have to think about a complete network of support, and have funds so that you can, go on working, but with the funds which are available in this kind of network. So this is exactly the reason why we are here and we are discussing. So before we go ahead, if we have no further questions, then I would like to invite you people to please just take this short quiz. It's the quiz on navigating career and parenthood in astronomy. It's just 10 basic questions. Please go through the Google form. The link, I've put it already in the chat box. So if you just click on that link, you will have access to the quiz, and you can just click and send me your answers. But that is also kind of a resource of information to know how much, what are the factors and what you even don't know, which affects the career of mothers in astronomy. So I can see there's one response already, but these are the questions, and please see if you can participate and if you can add your response. All you have to do is just go to the chat box of this a Zoom link, yes, and just click on that link and you will come across this short quiz. Do you have access, everybody? Okay, great. So we already have one response. One more. All right, so you can see many of you are actually scoring 10 out of 10. So you are really experienced, and you really have gone through all the problems. So that's great. But already even 8 out of 10 is great. So that really shows that we are aware of what we are talking about and why it's important to know all these factors which really impact our careers. Okay, great. Thank you. That's nice. Right. So we can, so if you have any suggestion regarding this quiz or how do you find it, then let me know. Do you think it is useful?
I know everybody, yeah. I know everybody hasn't finished answering, but I kind of like the all of the above method of communicating information. Like, because you have to read them and you go, oh, wait, I've read them all. They're all good. Oh, okay, now I have the information, rather than, giving essentially one right answer in a problem. I feel like I've been tricked into learning things, but I already knew a lot of them. I like it. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Veronica. Any other comment or suggestion or? No? Okay, great. So the idea was to see how much are we informed ourselves, and indeed we are all very much informed. So that's very good. So that means we understand exactly what we are talking about and why are we here. It's very important to have these kind of quiz, especially with the online audits, because as I said, this whole session is recorded. And so it really gives complete information to anyone observing it, listening to these videos, that indeed all what we are talking about is important, and it's not something, just made up out of nowhere and people are just talking about something. And no, everything is fine and we are all having a great gender balance situation and everyone is happy. No, it's not that. There is serious problem existing. Okay, great. Thank you very much for your contributions. That's really great. Right. So we will go ahead from here. And these were the questions that we have received in our Google form. So the question was, what specific goals or topics you would like to focus on during the mentorship session? And so one of the comment was, how to improve our scientific skills in astronomy with all the challenges of motherhood. So if anyone would like to answer this question, please go ahead. How to improve the scientific skills in astronomy with all the challenges of motherhood.
I think there's a not misunderstanding, but it's between your institute and the larger institution and you, both parties are responsible. You can do everything you can in order to help your scientific skills, but if there's no understanding from whoever you're getting these skills from, that you're not some 20-year-old free student who just would rather be drinking at night, you have actual things that you have to do 35 plus hours a week, then it can't go forward, I think, or it will be an uphill battle. And so it has been for me. Trying to, when I have gotten extra scientific skills, gone to a summer school or winter school or fall school or some kind of training workshop, the first thing I do is ask if they have childcare. And the second thing I do if they don't have childcare is ask if it can be virtual, because those are the only two options. And if they haven't thought of those two things, then they are very far behind. So that is kind of what you have to do. Your job is to ask if they're thinking about what they need to think about. And actually, my asking has caused change. So it actually tends to be, I think mostly Cologne. Cologne is fantastic for being accommodating. Whenever they have a meeting or a workshop or something, I say, are you going to have childcare? And they'll say, oh, no, we'll sort something out though. Right. It's always immediately, oh, I guess we hadn't thought about it ahead of time. Think about it ahead of time would be great. That's ideal. But once I ask, they change, and every time. And so you have to ask. You have to ask for what you need without thinking I'm the only one and it sucks and I'm causing problems for people, which is what I would think, which is what I used to think. But every time I've asked for childcare, my child has not been the only one there. It has been 5, 6, 7, 8 people who have been helped by this. And so you think of it as I am helping others who haven't spoken up. And that's what you do. To get more scientific skills, first you have to be accommodated and you have to ask for those accommodations, even though it sucks. Yes.
Yes. So of course, childcare support is now becoming more common in meetings, especially at the IAU, even at the European Astronomical Society, they do offer it. But indeed, it should be available in all the meetings and everywhere in the world, if it's possible. But yeah, it's not always possible either. Yes, Emma has a question.
May I ask about experiences with that? So it sounds like you've had, Veronica, very positive experiences with that. I've also heard on the other side of things from a colleague that, if they've got strong separation anxiety in their child, that actually being able to use that as a resource is not possible for them, and that, sometimes it's there, but underutilized by some people who still might need it. And I had taken away from that other conversation that actually it wasn't I might not be able to use it. It's not that useful in my circumstance.
I mean, always every child is individual. I have two children that are absolutely opposites in like every way. Some of it was like getting used to seeing new people. Like my daughter would travel with me everywhere until she was 4 or 5, and then legally required to be in school because the Netherlands is stupid. But she got used to like, oh, today we have these babysitters and they're great, and I like making new friends. That was her vibe. But eventually it turned into like a separation anxiety thing where like, oh, these are new people. I don't like them. Who are they? They're not you. And then that's where your hybrid option would come in, because while I kind of hate that, because then you still have all of the normal childcare duties and a full conference load or workshop load, which is exhausting. At least then your children aren't being like emotionally damaged. And the other thing is, what actually I've been talking to people about for as an option for not the IAU, for the EAS meetings, was having a room with various screens of the streamed talks and things, where you could be with your child, where you could have the childcare when they're feeling okay or when they're having a nap, but when they're not feeling okay, you can sit in that room and still follow talks and be with your child. And it would be a like sort of an open space where you could still be, fine. I think a lot of unique options need to be on the table, to be honest. And that's why it's hard to propose like blanket policy, because it's always like, okay, when it comes to support for childcare, well, okay, sometimes I can't bring the kids. Sometimes I would love to bring the kids. Sometimes somebody has to come to my house, and that's really weird. It's really unique and complicated, and so things need to be handled almost on a personal, unique basis. And so, yeah, like I say, like for some people, like there's some kids who would just not deal. But I was lucky to have kids that I could, I would visit them a couple of times a day, and they'd be happy coloring. They were used to being in daycare. My kids have been in daycare since they were 3 months old. So it's like, oh, okay, this is just a different teacher today. But the childcare has to also be handled well. Like at one conference I went to, it was in Greece, so that was really cool. But it was like the conference organizer's cousin taking all the kids to the park, and it was dodgy as hell. And so we were like, well, maybe instead we're not going to do this, and she'll sit with me some of the time, she'll sit with my husband some of the time, it'll be fine. So the organizer also has to do some homework. But yeah, it's a really valid point. Every kid is different. Some kids don't deal with it well.
Yeah. So I mean, you exactly as she says. So the kids are different, and so either you can bring them with you for the conference if that's allowed, which is what I also did in the past. If not, then of course you need to count on your family support if they can help taking care of the kid while you are away. And of course, you can always count on the creche and on the daycare centers while you are away. And sometimes you don't have to be present for all the meeting for 5 days. You could just choose the days where you want to be there and not otherwise. So that's the kind of combination that I have been using until now. So yeah, but I am sure people find it very difficult. And one has to either count on the family support or on the daycare center support or bring the kid with you. But then it gets difficult for the kid also to be there and to attend the meeting, or to be in a daycare center where they don't speak the language of the country where you are attending the conference, for example. So yeah, there are various combinations. But that's what one can explore. Those are the possibilities. Right.
But isn't this the problem at the end? In my 25 years and more in astronomy, I always had this impression is that we find a kind of a social issue. We found at the end a very simple and basic solution. The problem is solved. Let's go on. Mm-hmm. And this is not, we can solve huge scientific problems. But when we have social problems, the social skills are not there at all. And what we need is just to try to understand that these problems are huge, they are fundamental, and that there is not a solution ideal for everybody. And until we find some differentiation, we will not have more women in STEM, in astronomy. There is nothing else to do. So instead of saying, okay, there is the care at the conference, that is not doable for many people for different reasons. Here in the Netherlands, is really forbidden to take out your kids from school. I was refused by the principal of the school to take my kids with me. So at that point, for the conference, either my husband or myself had to go with the two-body problem. And you cannot always count on family, because my family lives in Italy. I am in the Netherlands. Once I took my mother, I paid her flight to attend a conference in Germany. And she was in the hotel with my 3 small kids there, taking care of 3 small kids in a hotel. But we cannot ask this. So why don't we have some funding that are there to help women in different situations? Because in Italy it's different, but here in the Netherlands, at 6 p.m. for the daycare of your child, you have to take your child home, full stop. And if you are at a conference, your husband is not around, who is taking your child at home? You have to pay a babysitter. And in the night, who stays with them? I mean, we have to use more, open-minded to find, we need the money. The problem is always the money. There is no money, so we find one solution, but it's not good for everybody.
Well, one of the solutions would be also to talk to a colleague in your institution who has similar situation as you. And then when you go for conference, they keep your kids. And when you are available, you keep their kids. That's something which, in that case, you don't have to find funds and you are colleagues. So you see, that could be one solution.
But again, you have to ask. You have to found your solution on your social network. And this is why we are weak as women. I'm sorry, but I'm very strong about that. We cannot, in astronomy, cannot expect us to count always on our social community. No. We are professionals. We must be professionally treated with respect. And they cannot, I have 3 kids. Who is taking the 3 kids? Should I share? Should I split them among 3 different families while I am at conference? I mean, it doesn't work in that way. Yes. And I can be shy. Somebody can be shy just like me. Then I don't ask, because my culture didn't teach me to ask, because that's no good. So we come from different backgrounds. We need something that is considered professionally. A professional is that there is some money. I take the money. Of course, I don't go to 10 conferences. I can use it once a year, no more, because there are other mothers. But we must find a way, as a women in astronomy, as IAU, we have to push each country to have their money available, each astronomical society in each country in the world. Because if they are forced by the IAU to have their money, they will do it. If I am the manager of this program that teaches the social skills, but also professional skills. They give me the money, and that's all. Nothing more, nothing less. They say, okay, you have the money, solve the problem by yourself. And when I ask for more money, because I said, look, I cannot run the program with the small amount you gave me, that's all, it's your business. So all of this is what Veronica asked, or somebody else asked, how I can improve my professional skills. Well, with speaking with people, with mentorship, with trainings, but they are not valued by our astronomical society, because according to them, they are not very important for doing research, and instead they are fundamental. because without those skills, you cannot be very productive, you cannot manage your time efficiently, you have too much stress, you don't know how to cope with burning out and stress. And then they wonder why there are so many new generation postdocs and PhD students with burning out. You wonder why. No, you can't wonder why, because we've been telling you for years.
Yes. Yes, yeah, you're right. It's perfectly correct indeed. So with IAU, we are going to push this forward, and we will be writing it. We are working on a document, which was not only for the code of conduct also, but during meetings, but also for these kind of support that Women in Astronomy Working Group recommends to implement in all the institutions. So if you have comments, of course, please mail me and send me all those comments that you have or suggestions that you have, so that we include that. But indeed, your points are all valid. Yes, Paula, you want to ask something, right?
No, oh, okay.
Yes, I have a comment about this, and I think part of the problem is because, as you show in your numbers, many of the taking decision committees are dominated by men who don't see all the efforts and the lack of support that we have. And that's a difficult problem because it's a huge number you show, right? It's 98% versus 2%. And one of the efforts I have been trying is to make aware of to those people what are the problems that we face. But it's difficult. It is very difficult. It is sometimes depressing, the comments I have got. And that's what I think. I don't know. I don't see the solution. The 2% of women fighting there is too few. And I don't know how to improve that. Of course, it's from the bottom to the top that we should, but we need to solve the problem of the top immediately to feel more supported. And yeah, that's what I feel. I don't know what to do there.
Yeah, you have a very valid point over there, and that's the situation, as you can see here. You have those 2% women or 20% women who are here in the policy making and hiring committee, and everyone else is male. And their decision gets less votes because they are in minority even here in the decision making. So that's the point. So if unless you try to implement here 50-50, you by force, you have to have 50% male and 50% female, even if there are 5 women in the institution, they all have to be into the committee, or there have to be some other solution. Yes, Nancy would like to say something.
Yeah, just one thing. Oh, we have more alliance, but I failed to have more alliance. Unfortunately, I feel so. I don't know if you have any suggestions to bring more alliance. That yeah.
I wanted to mention something quickly. We can also learn from industry because industry became more flexible than science. And my husband left science, went to industry, and I watched his company and the flexibility about women, about any employee. I'm not talking women, men and women, children. There are colleagues who moved to New Zealand and they said, go to New Zealand just to work for us. Go anywhere you want. No, I want to, my wife has a job, whatever, in Berlin, and I'm working in Bonn. Okay, go to Berlin with your wife and do the job. And he does the job. So I will give you my personal experience later on, but industry can teach us a lot. They are more advanced than us at this moment. Most of the companies, especially the bigger one, also small one, they give incredible flexibilities to mothers, to fathers, to families. And yes, they make money for us, so why shouldn't we leave them, be flexible for them? So just wanted to mention this. And we should make a survey how industry handles these problems, because they handle them meanwhile very, very well. Most of the companies, a lot of companies, they do that. So that's I just wanted to say.
I just want to add two things. One to Maria, one to follow with the discussion. Yes, now that Maria said that, I think that that thing in the industry also depends of the country, because I don't see that in my country, for example, that they have such flexibility to let the husband or the move to the place of the woman. I don't see that. So I don't think this happen in all the industry. This is one point. And another point is, we always said about men, some men don't support that idea or don't have this feeling or whatever. The other day I found that feeling with another woman in my institute, because finally they are, and the director is now a female in my institute, and after speaking with some researchers, she is trying to try to look for the opinion of the people and try to put on money to make a kid camp during the summer. In the way, when the schools are closed, they are trying to put money to some places where we can leave the children in the time that we are working, if we have not the holidays. And I heard one of my colleagues that everybody have different reasons in life. Everybody has the mind, but for whatever reason, she is alone, single, and she is in that table that you saw before. She is in this racing career, and she doesn't understand why the institute is putting money in people, in women that, is putting money to help women that have child. For her, that is a lose. It's a waste of money. And for her, in her mind, is that if you have child and husband, this is your decision, and this is the lucky thing in your life. So don't think of make career. I am a single woman, so I do career. She had that mentality, and it was a woman. It was not a man. It was a woman that was thinking that. I was really afraid, because it's not only men. There are also women that think the same, that it's a waste of time to help the woman that have child. If you have a child, it was your decision. Okay, that's life, no?
Correct. You can see there, you see the discrimination and bullying happens by both men and women.
Yeah.
It's not only men. It's not about
the same.
It's not a bullying. She didn't make bullying, but she shared that thought with the people, and maybe other people can start to think in the same way, and it is not good.
Well, I think that if you show that graph, this depends on, and to answer also to Veronica, to the age factor. I am 55. So this means that that 2%, that 5% of women who are at the top are all from my generation. You have also to consider that to become full professor, you have a certain age. So I am the one who decided to be mother in a period in which all this was not there. I was, when I did the gamma ray burst during my PhD, we were, I can tell you, in a huge conference in California, full of big shots, and there were only 3 women and all PhD students. When I did my PhD in Germany, there was no full professor who was woman, and I'm speaking of 1998. There was no woman in Germany, not even associate professor. So the one that you see now at the top taking decisions are all women who had to be more tough than men to reach that level. They are all from my generation, and the ones who have kids are really a very, very, very few percentage. All the ones who have now kids and who needs help are all at assistant professorship level now. They are all there, and the ones who have kids are mostly associate. So the ones, that are in the committees, sometimes to have 50-50 of men and women, it doesn't mean that is good for women with kids, because many of these women at the moment have no kids, they didn't want to have kids, or they take their decision, or life happened to them. So they really can't understand. And again, just because the money is low, you have to decide where to put the money. And the money you don't put on developing skills, on motherhood, or social support, because for them it's just your decision. I took my decision, you take your decision, we all pay the price. I have a career, you are a mother. That's all. So it will take time. I hope that in 20 years it will be different, because it will take time for these women, for your generation, who are now at assistant professorship level, to make the career. And I really hope there will be funding to allow you to arrive to full professor, because the problem now is the funding to support you.
Yeah, but the point is that funding comes with your productivity. If
Exactly.
your productivity, and the productivity is very, very poorly being assessed, it's not being evaluated based upon in the given resource what you did, in the given time what you did, and how you contributed. It is being assessed based upon your publications. It's
Absolutely
about publications. And what's also happening is when you're submitting papers, even if you've worked hard, even if you worked without being paid, or doing extra hours, 35 hours in a day, as Veronica was talking about, even if you have faced all those hardships and you write your publications, there is absolutely no guarantee that the referee who is referring your paper may stop it or try to stop you from publishing it. That is also happening. They want to reject your publication, whereas if you pay money in another journal, they may accept to publish it. So that is also happening. So is publication the only way to evaluate your productivity? So yes, Nancy.
I agree completely with you. The other day we were speaking about that with other colleague, but the fact is, okay, now they are when you have some when you go to some exam to get a position or whatever, okay, they are taking knowledge of that, and they ask you maybe this range, what happened, no? And you say, okay, I was in maternity or whatever. Yeah, okay, but for them is you have maternity leave. Maternity leave is a month. That's all. What happened with the rest of the time? They don't realize that, okay, if you have a child of 1 year old, 2 years old, 3 years old, you still need to go after him. If you go to the kindergarten, I spent the first year of my kid in the kindergarten. He didn't make 1 full week in the kindergarten. He was always sick, and after he was sick, I was sick as well, and it was a roll on, and that didn't. These are, they are not account for that. I mean, the people say, okay, you were in maternity leave. That's all. Not the other years that you spend with your child running away. This is not taking. No one is taking account that, and I don't know how they can at the same time. It's difficult.
Yeah, well, it's very important also to note that the maternity leave is for 3.5 months. And in 3.5 months, you cannot put a bag on your child's shoulder and say, go to school now at 7 in the morning and come back at 7 in the evening. Mommy is going to be at home, ready to receive you, because she has to go to work. It doesn't work like that. So the child is not autonomous until the age of 14, 13, 14. You can't let a child with, the house and ask him to, okay, come and cook your meal or something, and I'm not here. You can't do that. It's a question of security. So it comes not at the age of 13, or maybe it comes at the age of 20, 13, 14, 15, but not before that. So this is something which people don't realize. So when you enter into maternity, until the next 13 years or 14 years, you are limited in time, and your limitations are based upon your child's activity or schooling period. And once they are out of school, that's when you need to be available, or someone else needs to be available, either the father or the mother, or some.
I did a provocation to the Dutch Astronomical Society. Well, actually, I told them 2 things. The first thing is that, in brackets, I tell you, here in the Netherlands, they leave their child at 8 years old alone at home. They give them the keys. They come back alone from school. So here they do it, even if it is illegal. So you find yourself, it depends on which country you are living. I am Italian, I would never do it. So I was in difficulty because here people tell me, oh, give them the keys. But they are 8. How can I give them the keys? So, it depends also where you are living. Anyway, the provocation that I did to them is just the following. Let's put in the CV the skills of maternity leave. Because as a mother, we have incredible skills that should be part of our CV, and they are an additional value respect to people who never had kids. Your mother, we are all mothers. We all know that this is true. We learned so many things. I can do in 2 hours the job that people can do in 1 day because I am used of it, because I have the kids, I have to do this. I am a great manager because otherwise my house would crash down, would be a mess. I am very good with unforeseen situations with the 2 kids with the fever, put them in the car, put them at school, bring them. This is cancelled. These other things has to be done.
Yeah, so that's
I learned that.
multitasking, but at the same time, making sure that it doesn't cost you a burnout. And then the whole
Exactly.
structure falls because you fall, you see? So that's
We are productive, so we have to do a revolution. It's the only way. And the revolution is that the maternity skills should be additional and not a punishment. So until we cannot do that, and then please, when women with kids, please, we should try to make sure that when they apply for jobs, they are calibrated differently than people with no kids. Because if you are saying, okay, you produce 3 articles, but you are a mother of 2, it means that your 3 articles have the same value, the 10 articles of a woman or men with no kids. Then we are starting really to rethink how we are doing all of this. And then we can help the new generation. My generation is done. You were speaking of 25 years of postdocs. Here I am. I will never be permanent, but that's fine because at the end I paid the price, but I got what I wanted. I can still publishing. I am struggling, to be in groups and in collaborations. I'm still barely paid, but I'm still here, and I paid a huge price. But nevertheless, I'm happy to be here, and I'm super happy to be a mother. This is at the end what I wanted. But it's our time now to help the new generation that they don't have to pay our price. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense. We need to change the system. And as a woman in astronomy, I think that we really should try to propose even crazy things like, to help them to have their articles to be valued for really the weight that they have.
Yes, I think you are absolutely correct. Whatever you say, I agree totally with you. And we will put that also as one of the suggestions from the Women in Astronomy Working Group through the IAU. We are working on this document and we'll add that point. Paula wants to say something.
Yes, I have, I think, 2 comments. One is, as mentioned, that we need to calibrate for how many years we need to compensate mothers. And I think we need to base this on studies. And I remember a study of parenthood impact, how different is between men and women. And I remember that to close that career gap for a woman, in average, it took around 5 years. And I think that's a good number to propose to institutions to say, if you have every mother who has 1 child, or for each child, to try to close to add 5 years of compensation, right? At the moment, ERC, for example, takes 2 years, which I believe is too few. I know other organizations like DFG in Germany used to have, I think, 1.5 for men and women. Then I think they reduced it to 1 year and only for women. So I believe there is no real homogeneous time given to institutions of how much we should compensate. Some institutions think that it's because it took 6 months of maternity leave, it should be 6 months, and that's incorrect. And my other comment, I forgot it, but maybe it comes back to my mind.
Was calibrating the career gap and productivity.
I mean, for productivity, really should be a correction factor. I don't know. I don't know how that should be calculated, but
well, that's very straightforward. They have to ask the contracts.
I mean, I have 90 articles, double or whatever, 1.5, and because I have been working in Belgium, and in Belgium we had to clock entrance and leaving. That was because we were civil servants. Of course, the people without children, they clock and they watch YouTube or films until 10 o'clock in the evening in the office. They get a good compensation, 10 days plus per month because they stay too long in the office. And we rush to the daycare at 4:35 to pick up our children, and we have no choice. We have to leave. So these absurd stories you can hear. So, but there should be understanding that we have to do it all. I wanted to say before, I have been a case where I just want to give my example to show how it can work. 2008-9, me and my husband, both in science, decided to leave science because we realized that we cannot give any security and stability to our children. And we were very determined that yes, we leave science, but we don't, families was more important for us. So we moved to a place where my husband got a job. Actually, I was also offered a job, but my job was with 80% traveling for ESA. So I said no. I want to have. I want to be a mother of 2 and 4 years old, and not travel 80% of the time around the world. So no, I said no to this job, and we moved to a normal house with a normal neighborhood. Everybody knows you. We started planning to build a house. And then my former employer in UK, we were in Germany, said, Maria, would you like to work for us? The UK was then part of EU. And I said, yes, okay, we have a little fund and let's start. Here is a computer, here is a license, whatever, everything. And then we applied for a grant and a bit more. So since 2008, exactly, I started working from home on these grants here and there for 15 years, more, calculated, 16. And it wasn't easy because socially I isolated from, I had a very little social life. It was work and home and family, but I was happy because I had my babies. I didn't have this feeling every mother has, I don't give enough time to my children because I was with my children. They were in daycare. When I wanted 12 o'clock to pick them up, I picked them up. I miss them. I put them on the carpet under my desk and they play and I work. And my productivity skyrocketed. Then that continued for 7 years. I worked for UK for this way. And then I went back to Germany on again soft money. But I wanted to tell about the soft money. Well, when you feel bad in Europe about working on postdocs, look at the US. 90% of the people are on soft money. So that's it. Let's feel like Americans and it's okay. I find it no problem. So that's my, when I was feeling bad about living on soft money, I go to US and everybody's like me and it's good. But what I wanted to say that, yes, I paid the price with my social life. My social life is digital, but I have friends all around the world. So that's not bad neither. And I had quite successful career, but I was given absolute flexibility. Then I went to work for Max Planck in Germany, and the director gave me the same opportunity, said, you are productive, you do your job. I don't care where you are. Of course, I started doing this in 2008 when Skype came, so the social media was there, so I created incredible collaborations with people I never dreamt to work with, thanks to this. And actually, I have difficulties to work in an office. Well, in Korea, I'm very happy because Korean people are very quiet, so everywhere is quiet. And I can work, but when I go to any other institute, it's too loud for me because at home it's always quiet. I have trained my babies from early age to know that mama works and you have to be quiet, and they learned it very quickly. So they were good boys. But yes, so actually coming to Korea was opportunity for me to go to the office, and I love it because finally I have social life. But I managed to do motherhood and to do quite decently well in my field, but I was given the opportunity. And thanks to my UK employer, it was fantastic. And actually, not only I work for so 2 institutions in UK on with the same contract. We don't care where you are, just do your job. And the same in Germany. So and I talk about this for many years. I talked about this in UK 15, 20 years ago. And I have to say that was in the group of women in astronomy. And the women on top of the astronomy didn't even hear what I said. I said, give these young ladies the opportunity to work from home, to work from the mountain, from the lake, whatever. Just leave them work and don't limit for office work. And no, I was ignored. I have to say, I was ignored. So I'm very glad for this event because I see that I mentioned industry before. Industry gives the same opportunity. When COVID came, suddenly, believe me, in all the I'm solar physicist, so in the solar community, suddenly everybody said, "Oh, that's how you work." Yes, and it works. It's hard, actually. Everybody envied me that I have the right to work from home with 2 little kids. That's not so easy. At the end of the day, everybody learned this during COVID. But yes, so I would always advise young people, go to your boss, go to the top and say, this is my personal situation. I cannot work in this city. My husband has a job, whatever, 100 kilometers away. Can I work from home? Of course, you have to do your job. If you don't do your job, any company will throw you out, as well science. So you have to find your way, but it's possible. It's possible, but you have to be given the opportunity. So, and you have to find your way, what is best for you. Another thing which surprised me a lot, now traveling with my gray hair, when I go to a conference, the young ladies come around me and say, can I have a child? Yes. Can I have a family? Yes. But I'm approaching 40 now. Can I try to have a baby? Well, go home and do this because, but this doesn't happen in Asia, which always claim Asia is worse than Europe. No, that happens to me actually more in Europe. It happened in Italy, it happened in many other countries, it happened in Germany, it happens in Austria. So the situation is the same. We are not different from Korea, from Japan. Yeah, they have their history, but the situation is absolutely the same all around the world. So yeah, that's my experience. I encourage every young woman to do career and to have children, and it works. But as I said, go. I mean, the young ladies here now, they got scared, I think, what we talk about, but don't be scared. It works. Just, we are a few of us with gray hair here, and we did it, and it works. You find your way. You find your unique way sometimes. It's not the same for everyone. No, not everyone can work from home. I can, but not everyone can do that. Yes, it's possible, but a straight conversation with your personal, with your supervisor or your boss of, director of the institute always helps. These are human beings, also men. They understand, they have children, they have wife, and they are supportive. So this is my advice to the young people. So don't be scared. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Thank you very much, Maria. I think we all agree, and indeed, in your case, flexibility has helped a lot for you to continue with your career. So it's very important to have the flexibility. In that situation, you could continue with your work-life balance and maintain your career and continue until now. And that's why I think you must be feeling quite proud of yourself in a way to, manage everything and come out still in a win-win situation.
It was tough.
Yes.
It was tough. I had my burnout. I did my burnout. I did my burnout when my kids were 2 and 4. And this was actually thanks to the lack of childcare in Germany. Germany is one of the worst. With childcare, it still is the worst. UK was hyper expensive, but Germany is still bad. Childcare, kindergarten closes at 4:00, 4:30. Because I moved from Belgium, where it's the paradise, from 7 to 6, fully affordable. UK, excellent childcare, unaffordable. 2 children was more than my salary, the childcare. So we left UK because of this, actually. That was one of the main reasons to leave UK. So I am always worried about women in astronomy in UK. But yeah, so flexibility is extremely important. And so talk to your boss, young women who are still in the audience.
Yes.
It works.
Right. So I mean, we can continue. I'm sure we all have a lot of stories to say. There are lots of questions to answer also. But I think we are hearing a lot from all these discussions and experience that you all have been sharing how to get career and student life and work-life balance and gender-sensitive language and career cost of being a mother. So there are many questions actually. There are also all sorts of expectations, but I mean, to generalize everything and all these comments that we got, I just put it into, 5 bullet points. And that's we need to have a proper work-life balance. We heard about it. While we have to know how to navigate through parenting while facing gender bias as well as institution support or no support. We also have to take care of ourselves because we are talking about burnout, indeed, mental health, maintaining the self-confidence and resilience. It's very important. It's all about resilience, basically, when it comes to mothers in STEM fields. And then career development, how to go ahead with the career while we are facing all these challenges and how to advance with the skills and the cultural issues and support issues that we face. So work-life balance, how to balance parenting. Of course, time management is very important. Setting clear boundaries. Okay, there are certain things that I have to do quickly and the other things can wait. So really, I mean, I work with the calendar in front of me. I know today when I open my calendar, I have 3 tasks to do and I will try to finish my 3 tasks. That's the way you have to program yourself. Otherwise, you won't manage. So you won't get, you won't be able to do the perfect job, but at least you'll manage to finish your job. So the idea is not to become 100% perfect, but at least to manage to finish. Otherwise, you're too much delayed and you're out of the whole thing. So you need to maintain that. So you have to have your boundaries, you have to prioritize, and you have to also take time to relax. Otherwise, you can't handle everything because you are multitasking. When you're a mother, you are multitasking. And multitasking needs energy, and for that, you need to relax. So time management is important, counting on solid support. And solid support means really family or mentors or colleagues, and coping with the feeling of guilt and burnout. So having such kind of discussion session is very enlightening. I'm sure we all understand we have either gone through all this and it was not always very easy, or it's not always very easy now and not then, and how we could find solutions to go ahead in these kind of situation. When it comes to navigating through parenting, and gender bias and institutional support is very important. So you have to address the gender bias which is existing in astronomy. You have to advocate it. You have to start it in your own institutions. Like you have your Friday evening seminars, afternoon seminars in your institutions, you should have at least one talk related to gender balance issues every month in your institution. If you don't have it, that means nobody wants to talk about it, and that means it won't help. That should be a part of the whole structure. That's when we know that there is some activity happening and some EDI policies are being implemented in the institute, if you have at least one talk per month related to this thing. So that's very important. Childcare options at meetings, we already talked about it. It's important. Then two-body problem, because gender bias also happens because of childcare responsibilities. If you have children, you won't go for the meeting. If you won't go for the meeting, you will say, oh, in this meeting there were only men and there were no women, but there were no women because they were taking care of the kids. So you give them this possibility, you help them, provide them some funds, and they may come, and then you will have a gender balanced meeting. So it's all about that. So then there is always two-body problem when finding career opportunities for both the partners. So one has to speak out, as Maria said. One has to find solutions together with the partner, what works best for us. And everyone's personal situation is different. Everyone's personality is different. And based upon your physical capacity as well as the external factors, you decide what's the best for you. And that's how it works. And then mentorship and institutional support. So this is always a point. So you need to, bring all this. You need to discuss about it. You need to have EDI talks in your institution so that people get trained. They lack training. They may be very good astronomers, but they have zero training about how to handle this issue. And then one fine day, they say, oh, there is a problem and we are not trained for it. So it's our job to train. Like at home, you train your children. At work, you bring your situation in front of everybody, and not to suffer in aloof in a corner because others don't care. But if you have this policy of EDI in your institution, if you have it, you please do the least, which is organizing regular talks and asking people to come up and give a talk. You may have only 2 or 3 people who are turning up to give a talk, but at least that's the starting point. That's the way we have to do. And we have to make it a regular practice. That's the way we can train people and put in their minds all these problems that women are suffering or going through all alone. And build a supportive mentorship network. It's very important within your institution, even if you're 2, have that support for each other, and then try to encourage and add others. Regarding mental health and self-confidence and resilience, so of course one has to overcome the imposter syndrome. As Veronica said, sometimes she thinks she's the only one who is a problem creator. No, you're not the only one, because there are many who feel like you. And that's really the imposter syndrome. If you speak, people put a tag on you that you're a problems creator or maker, but it's not the case. You are trying to help yourself because that's the only way you may survive. You're trying to save yourself because you're having a burnout, because you are having health issues, and you need to speak, and you need to bring all these problems in front of decision makers or So that's where the problem is. So mental well-being is very important. And imposter syndrome, if it exists, that means there is a problem in the institution with how they are handling the mental health of their employees. And they're not perhaps doing any training or any effort towards helping their employees for coping up with this. So training session for this is very important. And this is not only for men and women, it's also for men. It's for everybody's, I think, well-being. So mental health training session once in a month is equally important after ADI. Then we have to also have the network to build an emotional support like we are having today. It's not very easy to discuss all this that we are discussing now. And I'm going to put it on our website so that people get inspired by it, and they do get. And I do get very good comments from many people from all over the world. Oh, they are implementing such practices now in their institutions. They have started it. So it's very important that we participate, we express what we go through, and we try to help others, and everyone gets benefited out of it. And of course, being resilient is very important, especially for mothers. Because otherwise, if you're not resilient, if you can't handle it, you will give up at one point and you will quit. And in order to be resilient, you need to have emotional support from your colleagues, from people who are in your situation. Why not, 5 people coming together and writing a funding proposal to support mothers in astronomy? We get funds and then we support. Why not we do that? And then when you come with money and you say to the institution, oh, I have funds and I just need a contract, maybe people are interested in this kind of idea, because it doesn't cost them to do anything. They just need to host you. But you made the effort of writing the proposal and getting the funds. So we have to come up with something like this. And that also helps to reduce the feeling of isolation that you are the only one who are facing all this. Then, of course, career development is important and getting funding and grants is important. So you have to know, write fund proposals. If the top people in the institutions are not interested in you because you're not productive, because you're a mother, because you are not available full time, you're not doing networking, etc., then you need to find people who are in similar situation as you and write proposals together and get funds and support the career. It's not always the very top person who may be there to help you, but if you come with funds, then people are interested in supporting you. How to handle the postdoc and fixed-term positions when you have a family responsibility. Of course, selecting the right mentor is very important. If the mentor is interested in using you because you are in a fragile situation anyway, then it won't help you to progress in your career. If the mentor is suppressing you, it won't help you in your next step. So your postdoc or PhD supervisor, or postdoc supervisor, or fixed term contractor supervisor should be someone who is supportive, who is doing EDI activities in his or her institute. Always, also one has to note that all the people who are advocating EDI in their institutions may not be really practicing it themselves. When it comes to themselves, they are just doing it sometimes, just for the namesake. We have seen such examples also. So it's very important to really see who supports women and with whom women feel free to talk to. That's one sign to know that the person is trustable and you can build projects with that person. Mentoring sessions and networking sessions are important. You have to know how to handle the pressure for publishing, writing proposals, and traveling with children to attend meetings, etc. We already also talked about it. So we have to set realistic goals. We cannot do everything because we are limited in time, and we should also be open to attending online meetings, because anyway you will be in the meeting, you will learn from the meeting even if you couldn't participate. So online meetings, and of course, as Maria said, after COVID, it has been really very helpful for many mothers, because then people understood, oh, okay, mothers could work aloof at home online. Now everyone can do. And now if we question their productivity, then the question will come on our productivity equally. And it's not easy to work with home with children. Oh, no, now we understand it. But we did not know before. So it's really so dumb. It's all about, their own personal practical experience, which they didn't have before. They were really living in an ideal world where they were never put up with this kind of challenge. So COVID taught them, and indeed that has been a bit helpful for mothers. And enhancing skills and managing research projects. You have to keep on enhancing your skills. Otherwise, you are quite behind, and then you are not into your applications are not considered because your skills are quite outdated. And as a result, you will not be given the chance, and a younger person will be given a chance. So enhancing skills and managing research project is very important. If you can't work with new instruments because you have not got the opportunity, then you should be good enough to write funding proposals and get funds. So one way or the other, you have to enhance your skills, either in the science or in the computing, or programming skills, or in data analysis. But some way or the other, wherever you could, based upon your experience, you have to enhance your skills in that direction. So there are do's and don'ts. So important and urgent should be done right now. Important but not urgent could be scheduled. Urgent but not important can be given to somebody else, some of your other colleague or younger person who wants to do it. And whatever is not important and not urgent, just give up and don't do it, and don't waste your time because you don't have it. Finally, there are cultural issues and mentorship and fostering support. So what can you do yourself? You can at least you can mentor the younger women and students in astronomy by organizing these kind of EDI sessions in your institute. That's one thing when it's very important. Share your experience and offer advice to younger women and students in navigating the career, because they will go through this even if they don't know. And even at this stage, when they're young and have no family, they think they will manage. When they will enter into it, then it's going to be same as you or me. So it's important that we mentor the younger generation and try to be a role model and to advocate for other mothers. It's not like, oh, okay, I will manage. If she doesn't manage, then I'll have a possibility, which is called conflict of interest, and trying to suppress others to get opportunity for yourself. It happens always. But I don't think that's the right way to do. I think the right way is to be together and to handle the situation together. When you're together, you look more important than when you're fighting alone. You can be easily outsided, and cornered out, and you won't be there. So it's important that people come together and work together and support each other. That has always been my intention with this Women in Astronomy working group. So get involved in the mentorship programs and help each other, support each other, and build a community. A support community is very important, which can help each other. So we have a Slack channel. I will be sending you the link. Please join the Slack channel. Be connected, share your issues. Today you had a difficult day and you want to talk about it. You have nobody to talk about it. You can write on the Slack with somebody whom you trust, and you can discuss with that person if you trust, and you can try to reduce the mental stress that you're facing alone. Yes, Maria.
Something I wanted to tell you for a long time, and if I don't say it now, I will forget it again. So now every big institute in EU at least has equal opportunity or gender equality officer, whatever. Some of the, in Max Planck we have. What I notice is that we have none of those people in this group. So they stay in their own institute and they do all their activities, which, and actually they don't know anything about what happens outside their little box. They don't share experience with anybody, with people like us now here. So I don't know how to do it. We have maybe to talk, two of us or more of us, that we have to contact these people and ask them to join us. They're all IAU members, I'm sure about that, to join this group and be present on these kind of events so that they can bring what we talk about to the institute and start talking about this. So this is really important because actually it's annoying me for a long time that I go somewhere and these gender equality people, they talk. And actually a lot of the issues, what we discuss, I don't hear about them in some institutions. So I don't know how we can do that, send a message through IAU or somehow to every institute we can think about or member of IAU and ask this present, chair of this Gender Equality Committee per institute to join and kind of spread what we talk in individual institutes. So sorry but I had to say it because I think about long time. As soon as we finish, I will go to bed and forget again tomorrow. So yeah.
Thank you. Yes. So it's a very genuine point, and indeed it's important. And we did it with the European Astronomical Society within the EU institutions, and we got a response from 19 institutions already who want to give talks. And we organized the first talk with the Royal Astronomical Society Diversity Officer last month. And it was a combined Women in Astronomy, IAU Women in Astronomy Working Group, EAS, EDI committee talk series. So we are having that. I think it's not just about organizing talk, it's what we take away from that talk and implement it. That's what is important. And that's where I think we should be also doing it with the IAU. But let me also inform you, after all the study and survey that we have done, the two countries where we see, or not countries, I must say, but two regions where we see lots of EDI activity happening, it's in the US and EU. And within EU, it's just UK who is kind of active in the EDI activities. And after UK, it's Spain. Other institutions are still lagging behind. So that's the situation. I had a discussion with the EAS, no, not with the EAS, sorry, with the ESA EDI people as well. And I had a discussion also with ESO. And I'm waiting for the response. I haven't received any response yet. So as you said, they're there, but what's happening exactly and why are we not discussing? It's a question. Right. So before I go on towards my last slide, and then we are open to discuss. So the actions and the takeaway for us are we have to have clear goals. And in our goals, we have to make sure that we have work-life balance involved. We need to maintain the career development and the mental health. These are the 3 points that we have to take care of when we are mothers. So prioritize self-care, because if you are not good within your physical and mental health, you won't manage to take care of the family and your career both. So you have to take care of yourself to start with. And then you have to have the resources. So gender balance policies you have to see in your institutions. Do you have one? If you have one, then you have to know what it is. Does it support? If it doesn't support, if it doesn't include any kind of supporting points for mothers, especially, or supporting their careers, then you have to raise all those points which are missing so that they get included, upgraded, and then you can peacefully work in your institutions. You have to try to get support through institutions who support research work in STEM fields. And so having a network of mothers and women in astronomy and then approaching the organizations, it's, I think, one way to go ahead. So that's what Maria was talking about. But having online support communities like we are having today, it's also, I think, equally important. And then during conference and meetings, we have to focus on gender equality and support for mother in science. We should, in every meeting, I try to put, at least after the invited talk or between two invited talks, I try to put one EDI talk so that people are kind of, obliged to, get informed with what's happening with other members who are not leading projects and who are not having this very shining results, etc. How are they coping up in their careers and what's happening for them? So it's very important to have EDI talks really sandwiched between the invited talks or in the plenary sessions. So we are pushing for that with the IAU and even with the European Astronomical Society meetings. For these two, we have submitted our our advice and recommendations. Now let's see how much it will be implemented, but that's done. But I think if you organize a meeting, you implement it. So if you have funds and you are organizing your meeting, you are organizing IAU symposium, in your meeting with the invited talk, just after the invited talk, you put one of the EDI talks. That's it. And then the project scientist or the PIs will understand, oh, okay, we are looking for people, but there are these people who are there and we need to perhaps support them. Are we having these EDI policies in our project? If not, then will our project suffer? Because the funding agency should evaluate that part as well. What are their EDI policies in their project? So that's there. Then engagement and support. So build network of mothers within your institutions so that you have some support within your institution, even if it's just one member, why not? If you have more supportive female in your institutions or even male who want to support you, then please make that network and try to organize activities together or training sessions together. If not once per month, at least once every 2 months or 6 months, but at least it should be done once in a year. You should have this kind of training for everybody. And I think that's it. And we already heard a lot of thoughts and feedbacks, but I am open to you. I will be circulating a link of Word document where you can write all your comments, suggestions, what you want, and what projects you would like to develop, and we can develop from there. Project for funding, project for policy change, project for training session that you want to propose, because you have the experience now. So you can propose, because there are people who don't even have this training sessions in their mind. What training is needed? They don't know what is needed. So we have to have this kind of sessions. And in the end, I would like to share these two resource materials, which were shared by male colleagues, not by female for surprise. It's very nice. It is very considerate. We have Professor Luca Casagond, who is associate professor at Australian National University. And he shared us this wonderful document of parental leave recommendations. So I'm going to send this to you in the link so that you have it. And you can download it. And then there is this talk, a wonderful talk given by Caroline. And she was the wife of director of the IAU WiA, Kevin Govenda. And she gave a wonderful talk on motherhood in astronomy and how challenging or how rewarding it could be to be a mother in astronomy. So please have a look at these two, and I thank them for sharing this important resource material. And with this, I'm happy to take your comments, suggestions, feedbacks, and how do we go ahead from this point. So please feel free.
Thank you so much for the summary. It was really very nice to have the opportunity to speak with all of you. If I may, I would like to add a comment about what Maria said. I've been living all this time with soft money, but it depends where you are living. And so the knowledge of what soft money is and the country in which you are living is very important. Here in the Netherlands, it's almost impossible to have soft money, doesn't exist, and the system really doesn't allow it, because after, I don't remember how many months you have to become permanent. So even if I have the money, they told me, I'm sorry, but you have, it's 4 years. Thank you, Veronica. Doesn't matter, you must go. We cannot really, even if you arrive with a grant, it doesn't matter. You have always to move, to change their institutes, but then the institutes, for their policy, don't like you to do this. It is not something that they support. So at that point, you have a lot of doors that are automatically closed for something is bureaucratic. So it belongs to the Netherlands as a country. And I know that also in other countries, in Germany, I think is also the same, but because after a certain amount of years, you must be
It's
hired.
valid for almost all EU countries. It's
Yes.
not. It's not Netherlands. Italy at the
Italy is
moment
the same.
Italy is since last year. Italy, after I don't know, 2 years, 4 years postdoc, you have to be given a permanent position. So
Yeah.
actually, institutes have the money, and they say, "Don't come to us if you
Yeah.
want to have anything, because that's it. 2 years, and you have to go."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So flexibility is not supported. And before I forget, the other point is that after COVID, we thought that people learned that we can be really productive, but then you received from the institutes an email in which it is written, please come back. You have to be here at least 4 days out of 5. And I can show you the emails.
Yeah.
So then, because we need the people to be around and so on, but then they cannot compromise. They don't want to understand that people have different needs. And so they are not supportive at all. So there is the bureaucratic aspects. There is the institutes who take decisions that are not supportive toward mothers, young mothers. And then that's all. You cannot do very much. So actually, Europe is not supportive for motherhood. They give you the time. I can tell you, here in the Netherlands, you have the possibility to have 1 day off until the 8th year of your child. But this means that you work 80%, but you're also paid 80%. And that's all. There is the law. You are getting this day. Be happy for this. And all the rest is up to you. I don't have to give you anything. I don't own you anything. I did my best. So the flexibility is not there. And when we decided to be flexible, we are donkey shots against a system that is totally rigid. And they are not supportive at all. So in my experience is that really, as a manager of a program who support the career for astronomers, I'm telling you, when you are starting to become flexible, be careful, because nowadays it's even worse. It's rare and it's very tricky.
I mean, but just to give you an example, because you work in EU, so the others may not understand what we talk about, but
yeah.
you can have a job in one country and live in another one. The only thing your employer has to agree, and this is a European rule, if you live more than 186 days per year in another country, you have to pay your taxes and insurances in this country. And if they want you, they agree. That's what UK did with me. They said, we want you, okay? We agree on anything you say. And they paid. They paid to Germany the taxes, they paid the insurances, they paid everything. So, this opportunity exists. You have to, you have to go and discuss this with the employers. But it is possible. At the moment, I have a permanent position in Bulgaria, and I put a condition: if you want me, I work for you, but you have to permit me to work from Germany 100% of the time. And I come time to time to say hi, but I talk to you every day. So there you are. And they agreed, and they brought a lawyer, and the lawyer said, there is nothing against the law to do that. When you're a permanent position in EU, you pay taxes and insurances in the country where your contract is. It's not like the temporary contract. So you work for Italy, you live in Netherlands with your husband, and you pay taxes and insurances in Italy, and you use your insurance in Italy to get your health care in Netherlands. That's EU law. Okay, so there is the opportunity. There is the opportunity, but you have to be familiar with the law.
But there is the opportunity because it depends on the institutes. I mean, here in the Netherlands, nobody would allow this. At least I don't know anybody who's doing this. And I can tell you that it depends on the institutes, what they allow, and it depends also the field in which you are working.
Yeah,
there are so many different factors and so many different rules, because then anyway, the 186 days, this is very fundamental, because then it depends also on your health insurance and other things, where your pension, there are different factors. So
but it works. No, it works. This
in the
system
EU
works.
works. Absolutely. But nevertheless, you need to have an accountant, you need a lawyer, you need to have people who are paid.
I do it for 15 years. Once you learn how it works, it works. And believe me, EU, I was amazed how the EU works. They have the same form in every language with the same box in the same place. When the Bulgarians fill the form, they get it in Germany, it appears in Germany with the same numbers in the right boxes. That's how it works. It's impressive. But EU is a very powerful thing, and believe me, so try.
No, I believe you, but you were lucky that they allowed you to do this. But this is a rare situation. I mean, I don't know anybody else who is allowed to have a contract in a country and live 100% in the other country, because I tried to do it, and then they told me, "No, you have to move." No,
The
you
law
move.
doesn't. The law allows it. That's the point. The law allows it. So
yes,
it's
but
not against the law.
if you ask, they gave the job to somebody else because I said no. So you know, even if the laws allow you, it depends on the situation and who is just deciding. I mean, even if the law allows you, it depends. They say no, we want somebody here, whatever. I mean, situation is different. And I repeat, here flexibility is becoming a bit of an issue, because they want people really to be at the institute as much as you can. So,
unfortunately, there are places like that. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's true. There are many contracts which are not given to women with children just because they want to live in one country of EU, but their contract is in another country. It happens, but if it works, then it's very good, because if Maria says that, then we need to explore that possibility also. If it has worked for her, then it's a great thing.
But the companies function that way.
Yeah. The
In
companies.
industry in Germany, I know a couple of companies where they have employees all around the world. They work remotely. I mean, I'm amazed. They have employees, the employees from Thailand. She says, I want to go back. My husband goes back to Thailand. Keep your job, work from Thailand. And she's working already 15 years from Thailand. I mean, there are many there all around the world. This is my husband's company. I mean, I was absolutely impressed how, and yeah, they make the money and the company's happy, and that's it. So it exists as an opportunity. It's not against the law. There are very strict rules. For instance, in EU, you're allowed with your current contract to stay abroad for 3 months without anything to do with taxes, to change anything in your taxation. When it's more than 3 months, the law, there is European law which permits whatever, I don't know, I never tested this. My husband wants to come, let's say, meet me if I stay in Korea for longer. And they told him, oh, go in Korea, stay with your wife. Just show up 4 hours per day, time to time for a meeting. That's all we need. Just do your job. So in industry explores this perfectly well, and it works. So we have to adopt it also for science.
Hey, yeah, thank you.
For me, it's soon to 11 o'clock in the evening, so I will leave you. It was lovely. I was planning to stay half an hour, but it was so good. Thank you, Mom. Really, you did amazing job. Always you do amazing job. So
thank you so much for your support.
we need people like you. We need people like you. Yeah. So
thank you. I think we need to be all together, and we have to really come
support
up
each other and give tips, advices, and share experience. because as I said in the beginning, I have this experience. It happened. I didn't want it. It just, that was the life. I had somehow to adapt and try and this and that. It was very hard at the end of the day. So this gray hair is not from nothing, but I'm fit and well, and yeah, here I am in Korea. I continue my adventure. So good luck to everyone, and it works. Just be positive.
Thank you.
Work out.
Anything else anyone would like to add here? Victoria? Right. Okay, so maybe Veronica, you want to say something?
I just remembered something from earlier, which was about sort of funding things. And it took sort of failing and falling behind and getting my gas electric shut off. But during my PhD, at least, the institute I'm at now, actually, they use some of their like institutional budget to help me pay for the travel costs for my daughter. And that was because I couldn't afford the very first conference she had to go to, and then I couldn't pay my bills. And that's where the gas and electricity shut off came in. And I didn't know that I could ask for that. I was just crying to HR and being like, I have no heat in my house and it's November. And she's like, but why? Oh, because it was so expensive to bring my daughter here in the conference. And she's like, oh, well, we have funding for that. But in my postdoc at the same institute, this is no longer possible. So I think when they can treat you as a student, which has rights, they're much more keen on being supportive. And instead, during my postdoc, I've asked for this. I asked my institute, my faculty, the entire university for funding to help with these costs. And they pointed to a new rule that they have at the university where they do have a grant you can apply for. It's like 200 euros for childcare for each child under the age of 4 one time during your contract. And I was like, okay, but that doesn't help. You that does like 1/10 of what it should. And you're also saying like, well, okay, after they're 4, yes, they do have to go to school, but we're still going to need some kind of support. So they aren't looking after themselves when they're 4. I know even Dutch kids are not looking after themselves when they're 4. And so I think the postdoc period is possibly the harder one. At least, I mean, so I'm not going to get to the professor period, God knows, but the postdoc period is this, you're on your money or you're on some project money. And so there's no wiggle room. You don't have the rights of a student. You don't have the rights of like a staff member, certainly. And so there's this weird in-between period where they don't value supporting you in this way.
It's true.
And like my salary isn't significantly higher than when I was a PhD student. It's like 500 euros a month more, maybe. And so that's not going to add up to a lot in the long run. And so, yeah, the first half of that was going to be ask if there's funding from your institute. And then the second half is don't count on it. Yes.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's the situation which many postdocs they land up into. And again, as I said, the female postdocs are more in disadvantage, and mothers are in much more disadvantage. So we know that. All right, I think we'll wind up over here today. Thank you very much for your really, your boosting participation, I must say, to all of you. And yes, I think we had a very good discussion. I'm sure this will be really a good resource for everybody, and we will be meeting again. And I'm going to circulate one document where you can write down all the, points that you think are important that we should be including in our, change in policies that we could request to the European Astronomical Society as well as IAU, both through the Women in Astronomy Working Group. Right. So I'll wind up over there. Please enjoy your Christmas time. Take time for yourself. That's very important, And so please have a good time and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
And nice to see you guys and Vanna.
Thank you all for participating and sharing. Thank you, Manta, as always.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Nice to hear from you.
I enjoyed the class.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, bye. Yeah, so where are you participating from? Which country?